What will a world of full automation look like? What role will robotics play in the automation of industry? And what leap in efficiencies can we expect? Well, to answer all these questions, we have a fantastic panel with us. Our first panelist is the Energy Advisor at Singularity University, José Luis Cordeiro. Please welcome. We also have the founder and chairman at Alternative Energy Innovations, Raúl Aragonés. Welcome, Raúl. Our third expert is the Innovation and Processes Director at Ferrovial. Please welcome Alberto López-Oleaga. Our fourth panelist, directly from Copenhagen, is the Vice President Head of Maersk Maritime Technology. Welcome, Paolo Tonon. And to moderate this wonderful panel, we are lucky to count with the knowledge and expertise of the Analytics Senior Manager at Accenture Digital. He is Guillaume Leorat. Welcome, bienvenue.
Hola, buenos días. Want to welcome, thank you, bonjour. Okay, thank you for being here today. So, like the starting point of this session is, I would call what we call the fourth industrial revolution. So, as you may have heard, so we had in the past like those the industrial revolution. The first one, what was based on the use of steam that allowed mechanization. The second one, it was then at the around like the 18th century, and then the use of electricity that allowed massive production, and then the electronics that came on our last century that allowed the automatization of different tasks, and where we could see the first robots. So that what we see is, we talk about this fourth revolution, this is new revolution, which is based on the use of technology. This technology will enable what we call the interaction between humans and all the production systems. That is what we're also talking about intelligent factories. Okay? So what we see is that what we have ahead is a new way of conducting the industry. Okay? And in that context, Accenture, we made some research and talking with different companies. What we found out is in 50% of the cases, like 50% of the companies do consider analytics, and I would say artificial intelligence in that extent, as one of the critical levers to enable that fourth industrial revolution. So, as of today, I mean, we have here a very strong and different type panel and different types of expertise in the industry, and I'm really pleased to have them to share with you and share with us all their experience. What I'm interested in them is telling us where does analytics and artificial intelligence, where is it used as of today in the industry? Where is it leading us? What will be possible tomorrow, and also one thing which is important with artificial intelligence, what are the impact, either in the industry, but also in the way we work. Okay? So as a start, I don't know, maybe I will start with someone who's, in fact, my first question would be like, who did that seat? It's not very comfortable. My first question would be rather for Paolo. So Paolo, like he's working with the ships. This is, it's very true that we always talk about the connected cars, but there are a lot of things that are also happening with the ships and the vessels that are transporting all the merchandise across the world. So I would start with Paolo, and it will be really interesting in you explaining, and then maybe we can go one and some examples and where artificial intelligence is used and where we're going with that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, you know, ship intelligence, autonomous ships, the digital ships, they are really hyped today in our industry, in shipping. You know, if you Google ship intelligence, you get 37 million hits. If you Google digital ship, 700,000 hits. Reality is totally different. There are 70,000 plus ships. IMO, which is the International Maritime Organization that controls everything, which are really classified in the organization. None of those ships is remotely managed or even more autonomous. So there is a gap between, you know, there is a wish, there is a picture, there is a future, but where we are is in a different world. I think, if I look at Maersk, we have 1,100 ships out there. We are the biggest commercial ship owner and ship operator in the globe. And, we have been collecting data from the ships over the last 30 years in very different ways. Our old ships, there is still the chief engineer that goes, take notes, and every midday brings a report on how the vessel is performing. The newest vessels, if I take one of the Tripoli, the really ultra-large container vessels we are having, they have 3,000 sensors. We monitor every 500 of a second the ship motions. We collect 2 gigabytes of data every day from those type of vessels, 30 terabytes of data every month from the amount of vessels we are having in the same conditions. And we use some of that data to take decisions. We use some of that data to create and look into analytics and create the next generation of performance management system. We have been very good in Maersk in carving out cost from our operation. It's a very cost-depressed market we are playing in, so it makes very much sense to be as cheap as possible in running your very heavy assets. So in this respect, understanding from the data that you should trim the ship in a different way, that you should speed up or slow down in your routes and save some fuel, that's a very, very important element of our daily operations. And we are good in doing that. But, it's still a situation where today ships are not completely connected. Think about a ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It takes 2 weeks to cross the Pacific Ocean. Not always you are covered. There is no 4G, no 3G, or, you need to be satellite covered.
There's no Google map.
You have for safety things, all our vessels are spotted, and we have built a global voyage center. We have it in India, in Mumbai, where we monitor 900 ships.
Okay. So as I understand, connected ships is not like connected car, so it's not the same level of maturity, but you're more in the previous phase, which is about connecting information, what we'll see later.
Absolutely.
Information is the fuel of artificial intelligence.
But it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when, when it comes to the autonomous vessels and the remotely managed vessels.
Okay, so maybe we can take later. Maybe in your case, Alberto, if you can give some examples in your field.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to start explaining very briefly Ferrovial, just from the point of view of this topic. No? Ferrovial is an infrastructure management company, and we have 3 main drivers related to the topic of this session. First of all, we provide services to millions of passengers, users, citizens, cars, if you want, in our highways division. On the other hand, we have 100,000 people working in cities, in airports and highways, and supporting the business operations. And finally, we manage assets. We could say that we are, if you want, an asset management company. That means street lighting, highways again, or any equipment installation you can imagine in a building or in an airport. Then, as you can imagine, to have information on real time in order to improve efficiency, but also to estimate and to predict, on one side, the asset conditions in order to improve maintenance cost and efficiency, and on the other hand, to estimate and predict the user's behavior, what are they going to do, how we can influence them in order to get more business for us is critical. And all the digital technologies and robotics mainly focus on supporting our operations and reducing or improving health and safety conditions is critical, and artificial intelligence is very important for us. If you want an example, as you can imagine, it's a very diverse group, but we are working in solutions in order to improve the waste management. In that case, to separate waste in order to improve efficiency in the process and to get more revenues. And in that case, we are using robots and also information in order to improve the process, artificial intelligence at the end.
Okay. So that's another kind of obvious. So here what we see one of the aspects of artificial intelligence is, I understand it's really focused on efficiency, like and waste. And I think this is also maybe one of the examples that can explain us, Raúl, about how artificial intelligence also can be used to reduce consumption and waste, maybe of energy. Now, if you have some examples that can be shared, it would be great.
First of all, let me introduce my company. We're SMI from Barcelona. We are now ventured by Repsol Foundation, Kiki Energy, and the European Commission. We give value to the waste heat. So we have developed technology that allows to the industry to improve its energy efficiency, recovering part of this waste heat from chimneys and surfaces to improve the efficiency of the company. And the other way, to power wireless sensor network devices. So we have created a division. Well, we are a step below of this big data. We create the big data. We generate the information that big data systems can interpret and can predict the environment of any process. Mm-hmm. So using this waste heat, we power some devices. These devices has not any kind of power supplies, no batteries. And also these devices are wireless sensing connecting. So we generate huge network systems. And finally, we generate data mining that some other will interpret. We can integrate this information into big data systems like freeware. Mm-hmm. That is a big European standard of big data. But well, our value is not to interpret this data, is to generate this data in order to give the best price for it.
You enable the use of it. Okay. So, do you have any examples, like maybe some impact or numbers, or that?
For example, recently we have installed the first equipment in a big automobile company, that is SEAT. They has a big chimney that they want to improve the energy efficiency of this chimney to recover part of this energy aligned with COP21 from Paris. On the other hand, they want to monitor in real time all the gases that has been threw it out in this chimney, to monitor carbon dioxide, to monitor temperature. So they have an autonomous system of measurement. It's completely isolated. It is communicated by 4G. So you have a power supply there, and also a system that can allow you to monitor in real time what's going on there in order to predict or to make any kind of maintenance. Okay. So these are, for us, is a big.
Okay. And can you have any idea, like what's the waste, like what's been spared with the use of these techniques? I mean, what's the efficiency? Any numbers like about?
Well, it really reduces significantly the power consumption.
Oh, okay.
Because a part of this energy, up to 20% of this energy, can be reintroduced to the grid of the company. Oh, yeah, so we improve the energy efficiency of the company. On the other hand, like you have a power system that is isolated in the chimney or in any hot surface, we can monitor anywhere, anytime. So we can, in your hand, you have any information of this process. So it's an easy way to monitor a cheap cost, reducing dramatically the wiring cost of the sensors, and also the maintenance, every year maintenance for supplying, for changing the battery. So it's
this is a very interesting concept. I would like to maybe, if we have time, to talk about this later. That is data that generates data, that generates data, that generates data. And this is maybe some kind of infinite loop, which is, I think, is interesting. But I think in the next round of questions, maybe José Luis, if you have some examples that you can share in your field expertise, also present the kind of activity. I think you're a bit different profile on that stage. So it's interesting that you share with us your experience.
Yeah, sure. I work in the idea of the Singularity, which is basically artificial intelligence. My university was created by Google and NASA. Google is an artificial intelligence company. Actually, Google says that they want to be the third half of your brain. Basically, we are going to increase your brain with artificial intelligence. So we use artificial intelligence in almost every area. Particularly because I work on energy issues, I visit the Tesla factory. The Tesla factory is incredible. It is a totally automated factory in Silicon Valley. And now they are also created a factory for making batteries. It's called the factory, because that single Tesla battery factory will double the production of batteries on planet Earth. Just one battery factory, which is a factory outside Reno, Nevada. So the factories of the future will be totally automated. A friend of mine says that there will be only 2 employees in a factory in the future. One employee will be a dog, and the other employee will be a human. The role of the human is to feed the dog, and the role of the dog is to stop the human from touching any of the machines. So everything will be totally automated thanks to artificial intelligence. But many people think that these are bad in the long term. When you mention robots, they think about Terminator. When you talk about artificial intelligence, people think about Skynet. But actually, I think artificial intelligence and robots will be fantastic. In fact, Singularity University was opened by the governor of California in 2009. I don't know if you remember who was the governor of California. Normally, we call him the governator. The governator. And when he inaugurated Singularity University, he said he was so happy because it will show how robots and artificial intelligence can actually be good. And the science fiction of today becomes the science reality of tomorrow. So anyway, the factories of the future will be completely automated, and in terms of designing the products, we'll use more and more artificial intelligence, both on planet Earth and outside planet Earth. Some of my students sent the first 3D printers into space. Right now, there are 2 3D printers in the International Space Station, and they are basically completely automated machines. You just feed the raw materials, and they begin printing. And we use them for everything. In fact, this ring I have here, the graduation ring from Singularity University, is 3D printed in metal. Basically, you design, and then it goes into a 3D printing process, which is totally automated. You can also use artificial intelligence to make changes in the design, and it will give you also better ideas for including your name or including other information. So artificial intelligence and robotics are here to stay. They will improve the human condition, and they will help us to reach the singularity. And I would love to talk about the singularity, but we don't have time. But I guess that most of you know what the singularity is, right? Can you raise your hands to see who knows what the singularity is? Okay, many of you. Singularity is the end of the human age, the end of the human age, because once we reach artificial intelligence, which is as good as human intelligence, that is the end of the human age. But that's fantastic. Fantastic, because it will be the beginning of the post-human age of humans with more artificial intelligence, as Google says, with a third half of a brain and a fourth half of a brain and more brains and more machines. So the future is very interesting, with or without Terminator.
Okay, thank you for that vision on the future. In fact, this is conducting me to this impression of sometimes that is, I would say, like perpetual movement that we maybe started. You know, before when you were, Raúl, mentioning that the case where you put sensors that generate data, that generate, I would say, intelligence or artificial intelligence that helps improving the efficiency, and where the waste of energy, I mean the energy which is spared, can be reused to generate more data. So it's like you invented the perpetual movement, which is an incredible thing. So I'm just an illustration. The thing is, looks like there is a real virtual loop that which is, and I think that's what you were mentioning before. It's all about data and collecting more and more data. In fact, we see that's why this is what I was mentioning at the beginning. That is, like it starts with connecting and collecting, for example, information. So maybe, like for example, can you talk about you do sensors? How do that work? And is it how much of data? I mean. Maybe Raúl could...
Well, it depends really in our particular case.
Without talking too much about technology.
It depends mainly about the critical of the process. Yeah. It's a very critical process. You have to guarantee the real-time monitoring of this process, and you have to generate a huge amount of data, a huge amount of bits per rate per second. So you need a big backbone infrastructure to guarantee that this information arrives in real time to the destinator, to a data logger, in order to be interpreted by this big machine, this big intelligent artificial machine. Depending on the critical of this process, you can reduce the baud rate, the rate of your sending data, in order to maintain the cost effective of the network. Because typically you are using wireless sensor network, and this wireless sensor network has two big stops. The big one is mainly the distance of the communications. So if you want to arrange a big distance, you need to consume a lot of power.
Sure.
That mainly reduces the autonomous of the battery, and in our particular case, you need to improve a bigger waste heat recovery unit to do that. There are some different technologies nowadays, like Leorat protocol, that is a very low rate but huge amount of distance, like Sigfox, like Bluetooth 4.0, some different variants of Wi-Fi. So, and also you have another way using wired communications like Profinet, Profibus, Ethernet. So depending on the critical of the information, depending on the environment, for example, there are some places, for example, in the petrochemical or refineries, there are some environments that are in ATEX environment, explosive environments. You cannot put wireless sensor devices powered by batteries. Lithium batteries explodes. So you cannot put some kind of sensors there. So our solution can allow you to monitor some process that today was not able to do that. So I think I think we have to improve the energy efficiency of the process. Nowadays, there are more than 3 trillion of wireless sensing devices using lithium batteries. So every year, we are putting in the trash trillions of batteries that mainly they've not been recovered, recycled. So I can contribute to reduce these batteries in order to make a best performance industry and more sustainable industry.
For me, it's a very funny idea that to have this loop. I'm trying to avoid those words like ecosystem paradigm, but it sounds very consultant. But I think it's very interesting, the idea that we're producing data that helps producing data that helps producing data, and that we're collecting every day more to be more clever and they produce more intelligence. The question is, where did that lead us? Maybe we can talk about this, but this one thing is, where did that lead us in the industry? Because everything, it's about innovation, it's about producing more, it's about being more efficient. So what will be the industry in the future? I think this is one of the main question that we have. But also, how did that work? That is, for example, we're talking about innovations. I was saying before, when we were preparing this discussion, that when I started to work, like 20 years ago, I started with working for the innovation department in Renault. And just wondering, like, if the innovation, for me, it's a very strange idea that there is a department which is called innovation. I mean, does it mean that, like in the rest of the company, you have signs where it says it's please do not disrupt here? Like, is it you are prohibited to think? What does it mean as of today, being innovation in the industry? So maybe
the role of innovation department. First of all, the innovation has to be everywhere. I mean, and all the innovation comes from people. Everybody has to be or can have this role of or this innovative idea. No? Then, at least in Ferrovial, and I think everywhere, the role of an innovation department is to promote, to facilitate, to enable, or even if you want to fund ideas coming from our people. I think that there is some statistics that say that 70% of the innovation comes from outside the research and development department, and this has to be in that way, because at the end, people who are working close to the customer, they are working close to the problems and close to the business challenges that are the raw material for an innovation project.
Okay, so so you're working somehow like an incubator for innovation. Okay, and in the case of Maersk, how does it work?
I think we are in a journey in Maersk, and of course we have a department, my department, working on technologies, working on design of vessels and ships, working on the processes of innovation, and we know we are moving out from the pure technical innovation in what we call the 360 degrees innovation. You know, is innovation, first of all, you should do it with your customers. They should really be part of your innovation. They should be part of your innovation process. You should do it very much, be able to do it open. So be very vocal, and sometimes you need to be very introvert in the innovation. So there are a lot of different elements. I mean, we are engaging here. In the past, Maersk was not really visible in events like this one. I think there is so much that we can learn from outside. There is so much happening, and especially in this Industry 4.0, Internet of Things, big data, name it. You know, we want to understand what's going on, and we want to be able to liaise with the right persons that have the right speed, the vision, and the capacity to support our company in growing. And, you know, again, I fully subscribe to what was said by my colleague here. It's innovation, you know, when you have a team, they are kind of the catalyzers of innovation inside a company. We are 89,000 people in Maersk, and we say everyone should innovate. We have a network of partners and suppliers, which is hundreds of thousands, and they should innovate with us. And then we have our customers and the external world. The likelihood that a good idea is happening out of 89,000 people circle, independent of the fact that this is a big circle, is very, very big. So why not being open, and why not being prone to work with the external world?
Okay. So, I mean, as I understand, so innovation should be everywhere. So it should be like impulsing new ideas and creating new things. We have seen that we are generating more and more data every day, and we know that. Again, I'm a statistician. When I started a long time ago, statistics, and I remember like the statistics, like my teacher saying, the trouble is we don't have enough data. And it is very funny because we're working about the confidence intervals because it was important to see, like, because since we're missing information, we had to try to estimate how much confidence we could have in the result, because we were working with biased samples or small samples. And as of today, this concept even of confidence interval is disappearing. Which is very fundamental concept in statistics theory. Because of what? Because as of today, we have much more data than we really need in some situation, or that we're able to use. And also it's true that we have a lot of situations that we don't exactly know what to do with the data. You were saying in the ships that you're collecting data, you start with collecting. And in some situations you will see exactly what we'll do with this data, I understand. And coming back to what you were saying, but like all those improvements that are continuous, that are exponentially growing, you know, like you were mentioning Skynet. I think there was a phrase like that, Skynet starts to think exponentially or something like that, and start to be self-aware. So you were saying, where is that leading us? You were saying that we will be robots, or?
Well, one quick thing. We have an innovation laboratory where the students, they play with all the technologies, and they combine different technologies, biotechnology, robotics, energy technology, so that the convergence of all these different technologies is what creates even more innovation. So that is very important, convergence of different technologies. The other thing, another example I forgot to give, is that I take my students into the Google self-driving cars. Because this is beginning. We have self-driving cars, and my forecast is that between 5 and 10 years, all the new cars will be self-driving, and they will be electric. The new cars. Obviously, we have millions and millions of old cars that we need to change, and it will take time. And there will be this period of 10, 20 years while we have the old system, which is not dead, and the new system, which is not fully born. But talking about the birth of something is the birth of artificial intelligence. We estimate that between 2029 and 2045, we will reach the technological singularity. And you will not know anymore if you are talking to a human or to artificial intelligence. Actually, do you know if I am a human? I might not be a human, okay? So by 2029, at the earliest, we will pass what is called the Alan Turing test. And therefore, you will not really know if you are communicating with a machine or artificial intelligence. In fact, this artificial intelligence will be so advanced, so incredibly advanced and powerful, they will have to simulate that they are stupid to talk to humans. because they will be incredibly more intelligent than we are. They will have access to all human knowledge. And therefore, well, the idea, we believe we are going to merge with the technology. We will fuse with this technology. And let me invite you, this Saturday, we will have the first Cyborg Olympic Games in Zurich, Switzerland. The first Cyborg Olympic Games, or people with disabilities that thanks to technology, they become people with super abilities. Don't miss it. October 8th in Zurich, the first Cyborg Olympic Games in human history. And this is only the beginning. So yes, we will merge with the machine, and it will be fun.
Will it be? I mean, that's the question. You know, I was like also this joke that well, the good thing with artificial intelligence, it will raise the bar when it will be able to convince you that you are a robot. Looks like it's been we were already past that that step. So in fact, at WeShield, we have maybe a lot of interpretation at what will be the future, because we also have the voices of like even Elon Musk, and then we know that with Bill Gates and you know the other one, this foundation about the future of life. So. That's. I think I'm more on the positive side. That we should. I think
well,
nice things that are coming.
This is coming. You know, it's like this is happening. So if you cannot beat them, join them.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good way to conclude. And I'm really convinced that we have a really fantastic time which is coming ahead of us. I mean, we're already living it. Again, I see at my scale, like human scale, like things that I learned 20 years ago, and how they changed within a 20 years time frame. And we know that within 2 years, things will be really dramatically different. So I see that, okay, like it's 3 minutes. I think it's time for me to stop. So first, I would like to thank my invited, like the invited, because I think they really represent very different types of experience and very interesting point of view on the use of information and artificial intelligence in general within industry. It's a pity that we don't have much time to talk about like all these other aspects and what will be the place to be human in that. You know, we're like as of today we live with our salary, we have jobs. What will happen in the industry, etc., etc. But again, thank you for your presence. I hope you enjoyed this session, and okay, and see you then. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I think José Luis has his other conference. I mean.